We started the show out today talking about what is in the New York Times today. And what's in the New York Times? Was this from the New York Times today, or was it?
I believe it was the day before.
Day before,
Mm-hmm.
where they're talking about
the day before today would be like yesterday.
I mean, really, is this your contribution to the show today?
This is why you showed up.
That was it.
That's why you came.
I think that was important. That was an important observation that I.
The article in the New York Times.
The day after today might be tomorrow.
The article in the New York Times, I overpay you so much. The article in the New York Times is talking about how the people in the State Department are now coming out and saying the president is way wrong on his policy. And they shut their mouth. That's why we know about the project, because they started talking to us because they knew we would tell the story. They started talking to us 8 months ago. Now they're starting to talk to the New York Times, and the New York Times is starting to take them seriously. And they're saying the people in the Pentagon, the people in the State Department, high-ranking officials are saying, trouble, danger, got to stop right now. And that's why there's this urgency, and you're 40 days away from an election. There's no way to get this out to the American people and have them really understand it. You have to be the catalyst here. You have to dedicate yourself to understanding something and learning something in record speed and finding the ways to get it out, and to prepare all those that will listen. The other thing I want to talk about here real quick is another story in the New York Times that nobody that I have heard has talked about this. We did it in the monologue last night when we were talking about women, and I just think it's worth bringing up that on September 16th in the New York Times, on their op-ed page, written by Steve Ratner. He was a guy who was in the Obama administration. He was there when we were saying death panels are coming because it is mathematical. It's not something that anybody on the other side is going to paint as evil. I believe it is. But they won't tell you about it. But they have to do it, according to Obamacare, because of the math. We, of course, were called all kinds of horrible names. Okay. Steve Ratner, a guy who was there with the Obama administration, Saturday, op-ed page, New York Times, that sets the news, the course of the news cycle. It's not some nobody paper. If it's in the New York Times, it's everywhere. But not this. The first line in this op-ed is, quote, "We need death panels, period." Well, maybe not death panels exactly, but unless we start allocating healthcare resources more prudently by rationing, its proper name, the exploding cost of Medicare will swamp the federal budget.
So we're splitting hairs there with what to call it exactly. It's not death panels, but it is the rationing we've talked about.
Right,
for all
and
this
so
time.
they're saying we have to choose who gets medical care and who doesn't. Notice we're talking about Medicare. Who gets Medicare?
Elderly, the poor.
So we have to start rationing now. It is death panels. Whether you want to call it that or not, we never called them death panels when I was on Fox, did we, Stu? We just talked about rationing.
Yeah.
And we talked about the numbers and said it doesn't work any other way. You can't do it any other way. The problem with it, the reason why it becomes a death panel, is because who decides who lives and dies? Who decides? By the way, another story that is not reported. Do you know that they've just changed the way kidneys are divvied out? They're now, it's always been, if you're on the list for a kidney transplant, first come, first serve. If you're on that list, you're the next in line, and this one matches you, you get it. Not anymore. Because there's not enough kidneys. There's not enough people. There's too many people who have kidney problems. So what is the government doing? They're now changing the way it's divvied. Now, if you're old, you don't get it because it's a waste.
Yeah, that system doesn't ever, it's not about whether there will be rationing or not. It's about how will you ration it? Who is the beneficiary of that rationing? Yeah.
Who's the arbiter? And I did an experiment this morning in the morning meeting.
What's the age cutoff of that?
I don't know. I don't have that story with me. And I don't want to get that one wrong.
Staggering.
Oh, yeah. No, it's too young or too old. It's prime of the life. It is Ezekiel's plan.
It's exactly what we talked
about. It is, exactly. And nobody else is talking about it. Nobody else is talking about it. This stuff is going in if Barack Obama, if Barack Obama is elected, it will stand. It's already in, but it will stand. We must not elect Barack Obama. So you not only have it here, but as I was doing an experiment this morning, I said, look, let's put somebody that is universally loved by everybody, who thinks is the most charitable person in the world. Let's put them in charge of the rationing panel. It's Mother Teresa. Now, I know she's dead, so that won't work, but Mother Teresa. Everybody loves Mother Teresa. Everybody knows she just loves everybody, and she's the most kind. She's the most gentle. Okay? Everybody loves her. Who says a bad thing about Mother Teresa? You put her in charge of this. Mother Teresa now needs an armed unit to be able to execute it, because people will say, Mother Teresa just killed my grandfather or my father or let my child die because she made that decision. No matter who it is, Mother Teresa needs an armed personnel to be able to carry it out because she's making life and death decisions. Mother Teresa can't pull this off without fascism.
What about Betty White?
Yeah, she could do it.
Do you think it'd be more acceptable coming from her? Because everybody loves Betty White.
Yeah.
Look at the commercial she does. The Snickers commercial.
That's funny.
Funny, man. It's funny. I mean, I could almost...
If she will put you on the first to not get something, I am all for Betty White.